Probably the most significant was a device to detect the location of thunderstorms by the radio signals they generate when lightning strikes. I spent 18,000 hours working on it. And this is a little screen in the airplane that says there's a storm over here, better fly that way, not this way. I'm John Youngquist. I'm from Niagara Falls, Canada, and I came here for cornea transplant surgery. The vision problems started really with retinopathy, and then I had this detached retina, and all of a sudden I'm on an emergency rush to go get eye surgery. You'll have to go to Floam Eye Institute in Rochester, New York, a famous eye place, because they would have people that would do the surgery later in the day after my stomach emptied. I call up my wife, say I'm not coming home, I'm going to Rochester. I have to have emergency eye surgery. The right eye went bad basically as a result of this detached retina surgery. First thing, they fill your eye with, in the first case, sulfur hexafluoride, and you can't really see with that. The retina detached 6 or so weeks later, and I'm back at the same place getting it done again, and they filled it full of silicone oil this time because it would last longer. So I left the silicone oil in for 4 months or so, and you can't see hardly anything through the silicone oil. So I just had to put up with essentially no real vision for months. So then they took the silicone oil out last January, and my vision was not terribly good. I was reading maybe the second or third line of the eye chart. So I didn't really have any practical vision in this eye. I certainly couldn't read essentially anything with it. And we were kind of waiting to see what the retina surgery would yield.
So John, his fundamental problem with his eyes was that he had Fuchs dystrophy in both, which was especially bad in one eye. And he's an engineer, he's a smart guy, he's done his research, and he knew that DMEK was the procedure of choice. That's the latest and greatest, it's the most modern surgical technique, it's the one with the best results. But the problem is that John couldn't find anybody who was willing to do DMEK on this bad eye of his, because that bad eye had also had another problem in the past. It had a retinal detachment that had required fixing by putting silicone oil inside the eye. Silicone oil is this slippery, heavy liquid that makes all subsequent operations really difficult to do. And so John had called around first in Canada and then out in the United States. He had talked to people in Miami, in Chicago, in New York, and no one was willing to do a DMEK for him. Everybody was just going to offer him this old predecessor operation, a DSEK. And if that wasn't bad enough, what they told him is that it would actually be a long process just to get the DSEK, that he would have to fly in for a consultation and be seen and then scheduled for surgery sometime in the future, maybe weeks or months later, would have to come back for that operation and then stay around in town for a while. So as a result, John started looking even more broadly, and I'm not exactly sure how he found us, but the reason he came to us is because we were able to offer him not only that DMEK operation that he wanted, the one that he rightfully needed, but we were also able to offer it to him in one visit. So that is to say, he was able to come for initial consultation, be seen on one day just before surgery, have surgery the next day, then stick around in town for 4 or 5 days, and then fly back to Canada and do all of his further follow-up care at home with his regular doctor. So I think that made a big difference for him.
I think it's very important what place you choose to get something like this done. And for a variety of reasons. It's not just the guy that's doing the job, but it's the facility, it's the support staff. I wanted to go somewhere where I had the highest possible likelihood of success and the lowest possible likelihood of trouble or repeat surgeries or ongoing issues. And so that's why I came here. And I don't know. I mean, I can't judge what every other surgeon in the country does. I'm sure there are other places that know how to do this. There are guys that have done a lot of them, no doubt, all that sort of stuff. But I was convinced that all the ingredients were here and that we didn't need to look any further. And then when I was able to come here quickly, I was even better. And I mean, I had, at that point in time, I was thinking, well, what would the best possible thing be that could happen to me at this point in time, looking for the surgery? Would I wish I had gone to Mayo? Should I have waited to go to Cleveland Clinic? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? And I'm thinking, you know, the dream come true would be to go have this done this week. That's what I'd like. And that's what happened.
The development of these techniques we have for replacing the cells on the back of the cornea, that's one of the most transformative things we have in modern ophthalmology, especially corneal medicine. And there are these two types of the surgery, DSEK and DMEK. They were invented by the same guy. DMEK is the newer one. And the way that I keep it straight, the way I tell people is DMEK has an M in it, and that's the thing you would want your mom to have. Okay, that's how you can remember them for yourself. And the advantages of DMEK over DSEK are you get better and faster vision. Typically also a quicker operation, but it requires more in the way of technical skill to do the surgery, especially if the eye is complicated. So if you have an eye that's really sick or has a lot of problems, even very many good cornea specialists, really good doctors, they are a little hesitant to try to do a DMEK operation for those patients because you think, oh, it's already a tough surgery and this is a tough eye. We don't really want to push it and try something that might be difficult in this difficult circumstance. But I think that's why it's kind of nice to be a center where DMEK is what you do. It's all you do, basically. You develop this facility with the procedure that makes you feel comfortable doing it, at least for us, even in eyes that are otherwise really, really complex. It's one of the things that we enjoy most in our practice and probably in our lives, being able to bring this more technically challenging operation to bear for the patients who most need it, which is to say eyes that are in the most trouble.